dissed his ops outside a burger joint on camera and got gunned down days later. Another rapper flexed his new LA mansion, then got gunned down on the same day. This other rapper got gunned down on his birthday. This is the 20th most disturbing last recordings of drill rappers of all time. Julio Foolio wasn't just sneak dissing. He was name-dropping the and daring ops to slide. He dissed Youngin Ace's whole camp and even turned the Who I Smoke diss into his war anthem. Whether it was mocking dead ops, live streaming from his location, or dropping diss tracks with names in the hook, Foolio thrived on smoke. But it was that same energy that got him lined. On June 23, 2024, Foolio celebrated his 26th birthday in Tampa. As expected, he wanted to make the day one to remember and got too excited. He was kicked out of the hotel for doing too much, so he switched to an Airbnb. Foolio was still riding the birthday high and made the move that sealed his fate. He went live on Instagram multiple times, flashing the Airbnb address, flexing in the parking lot, and telling fans to pull up.
We came deep and fuck for my birthday, man. Everybody coming out the spell. No cap, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We deep as hell. We deep as hell. 20 deep. Lit everywhere we go.
But the ops were already locked in. Hours after Foolio's last post, a black Dodge pulled up and waited outside the Airbnb. Just like the first spot, Foolio got kicked from this one too. He jumped in the car with 3 homies, not knowing the hitters were already in position. They immediately opened fire in the parking lot, letting off over 30 rounds. Foolio got hit multiple times and on the scene. His last recordings. IG Live shows his exact location, which is flexing outside. Some say he got backdoored. Others say he disrespected too many names not to be touched. Foolio didn't just broadcast his setup, he handed it out. And when the footage hit the net, it turned into a warning. But he wasn't the only one. Lil Jeff didn't go out on live. A porch cam caught his final moments, a full-blown ambush, filmed like a drill documentary in real time. Lil Jeff wasn't new to pressure. He was deep in the Bloodhound circle, a rumored hitter known for standing on business. Just days before his Jeff allegedly got revenge on Monty and Lil Rob from BKN, the same duo that lined him for his chain and watch in a viral apartment lobby backdoor. After that setup, Monty went live flaunting the stolen pieces. But on January 26, 2024, both Monty and Rob were found during their school lunch break near Innovations High School in downtown Chicago. The hit was brazen, broad day, public, 2 shooters, dozens of witnesses.
Before and after the shooting were all caught on a nearby surveillance camera. You can see both victims here on the left side of your screen. Here on the right side, a dark-colored SUV pulls up. Underneath the train tracks, at least one person can be seen running from the car, ambushing the victims. The shooter then runs back into the SUV. The driver taking off south on Wabash and then turning west on Madison. All of this happening right in the middle of the Loop lunch rush hour.
About 3 weeks after the Monty and Rob hit, Lil Jeff dropped his most talked about track yet, Ah. The song felt like a confession, with bars lined up precisely with what went down when Jeff rapped. They did what they did, so they had to pay the consequence. We hopped out with 4 poles and 2 got hit. When I speak, it's only facts. He was screaming ah when he got hit. It wasn't just a diss track. It told a story, man. That track blew up, but so did the target on his back. On July 4th, 2024, Jeff and his crew pulled up to Trap City Rob's block in a stolen Dodge, allegedly looking for Trap City Glenn. According to reports, Glenn was outside but ran into his grandma's house for cover. Jeff followed, jumping out of the car and running up the porch. But what he didn't know was that Trap City Rob was already waiting inside, posted at the door. The porch surveillance camera caught everything. As Jeff stepped on the porch, multiple rang out from inside the house. He got hit immediately. The footage showed his body drop. The same porch he thought would be the ops' grave turned into his own. Gunning Lil Jeff was karma for his hit on Monty and Rob. They were barely 16, but in the streets, age doesn't save you. And speaking of young names that carried real weight, L.A. Capone was different. Only 17, but already moving like a vet. L.A. Capone repped 600, stood next to Rondo number 9 and C.I., and had one of the most distinctive flows in Chicago drill. But on September 26, 2013, that rise ended in an alley. L.A. had just finished a session at a studio near 70th and Stony Island. He had been recording new tracks, talking about future shows, and running through verses heavy with smoke. The same themes as always: Dead Apps, 600K, and BD Pride.
Just record. This is gonna be a hit song, man. You recording and shit?
That night, he was reportedly moving without full security. He got ambushed as he left the studio and walked toward a waiting car. Multiple hit his lower back and thigh. He tried to run, collapsed near a gangway, and was rushed to Northwestern Memorial, where he later that night. For the BDs, losing LA wasn't just another L. It was a young legend cut down too soon, and one of the most recent legends taken early, Pop Smoke. He wasn't just a Brooklyn drill star, he was the face of the wave. And when he went to LA in early 2020, it was supposed to be a move to level up. But the last recordings from that trip showed something different. Pop was staying at a Hollywood Hills Airbnb when he posted a video on Instagram showing him flexing bags and a gift from Amiri. What he didn't realize was that the package label showed the exact address. Within hours, 4 teens from Hoover Crips used that info to pull up. Then at 4 a.m., they kicked in the back door. Pop tried to fight back but got twice, once in the chest. LAPD later dropped the 911 call. Pop's voice screaming in pain, begging for help while he was getting hit.
Hello? PD, what are your numbers? I'm gonna tell them to wait for LAPD. Alright. Okay, I'll send them. Yeah, me too. I'll get it going. Thanks. Hello?
For Pop, what started as a flex became a fatal slip, something no driller can afford. It was the same thing that got King Von. Known as the most dangerous rapper on the planet in 2020, he didn't just talk drill, he lived it. But on November 6, 2020, he moved too fast. Surveillance footage outside Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta shows Von walking out with his crew. Then, out of nowhere, he spots NBA affiliate Quando Rondo. Von charges him and lands multiple punches. What he didn't see was Lil Tim creeping around the side. Seconds later, fired. Von was hit multiple times and collapsed on the ground. The footage shows chaos, people running, Tim getting hit in return fire, and Von's homie trying to drag him to safety. Von moved like a stepper with structure. BTB Savage, he played goon games and got goon consequences. He wasn't a Chicago or New York native, but made drill history for one of the most viral and reckless post-flexes the game ever saw. What made it even more disturbing is that the image that got him was his last post. On March 29, 2023, Savage uploaded a photo standing in dry, bragging about catching a body during a home invasion. He was in his Houston apartment where a robbery attempt went wrong. According to Savage, 2 men tried to line him and his girl. They fought back. His girl fired the fatal. Savage went live after the incident, laughing and describing how the dude begged for help as he bled out on the floor. Then he posted the photo, him in designer, next to the same puddle the op in, smiling. Caption, "Too much motion." It didn't take 24 hours. The next day on March 30th, BTB Savage was in his white Benz in River Oaks, a luxury area in Houston. Multiple shooters hopped out of a black Subaru, boxed him in, and let off over 60. His car was riddled with bullets. Savage got hit several times and at the scene. Just like BTB Savage's hit was a message, KTS Dre's was too, but colder. The way it happened, where it happened, and how fast it happened after his last moment of freedom made it one of the coldest backdoors in drill history. On July 10th, 2021, KTS Dre, real name Londre Sylvester, was released from Cook County Jail after posting bond. But just minutes after walking out the front door, the ops pulled up. A car was waiting near the jail entrance. As Dre crossed the parking lot with his girl and his mom, Multiple shooters hopped out and sprayed over 60 rounds. Dre got hit 64 times. His body was found face down in the street. His girl got in the knee. His mom was grazed. The last known image of Dre is the surveillance footage showing him walking out the jail. That quiet walk, still in release clothes, head down with a folder in hand, turned into his final footage. Within 30 seconds, he was dead.
Police say a man who was apparently ambushed after being released from Cook County Jail in Chicago was about 64 times. 31-year-old rapper Londre Sylvester, who also goes by the name KTS Dre. A police report says he had just been released after being fitted for electronic monitoring and was walking to a waiting vehicle when several people got out of two vehicles and started shooting. They got back into the vehicles and took off. A 60-year-old woman was also shot in the knee. She was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. Right now, police do not have anybody in custody. Katie Johnston for CBSN, Chicago.
He had to play with serious fire to get used as an example like that. Same way Lil JoJo's war with Chief Keef and the BDs became drill history. But his last recording showed just how close he was to the flame. On September 4th, 2012, JoJo in a car, recording himself riding through BD territory, yelling, BDK, short for Black Disciple. He laughed into the camera, posted the clip, and left no question about what time it was. JoJo World in this BDK Uchia's K.
They calling for them rats and ripping off this one time to tell y'all.
Hey, boy, you a bitch, boy. Hey, bitch, this low. Bitch. Yeah. What's wrong with you, boy? Hey, I am Brick Squad. Yeah, Brick Squad, boy. Talk about, boy. We get on, bitch. We ain't for nothing. Y'all heirs, man. Hey, don't talk to me with all that. Ain't no taking off. What is wrong with y'all, boy?
That clip blew up instantly. Hours later, JoJo tweeted his location again. He was in a car on 69th in Princeton when a tan Ford Taurus pulled up and let off. JoJo was hit and on the scene. That same night, Chief Keef tweeted, "It's sad cause JoJo wanted to be just like us, LMAO." The clip of JoJo yelling BDK out the window, just hours before getting smoked, became drill history. That wasn't a diss. It was a wish caught on camera. Crump moved the same way, wild with it, dissing everybody and popping out everywhere. And just like JoJo, that energy caught up quick. Mubu Crump, a former affiliate of 051 and a known Chicago agitator, was known for going on live, getting drunk, and clowning his ops. On April 28, 2018, Crump did what he always did. He went live from a party talking crazy. He was vibing and laughing with his boy Dusky from MOB and some girls, all on Instagram. He was on 68th and Morgan, deep in BD territory, not far from O-Block, and during the live he mocked the death of Nusky, Lil Durk's cousin. He even joked about people hating and said, "We out here, ain't nobody gonna touch me." Then he stepped outside.
Them left Nusky. They left his ass right here. You feel me? They left his ass up here on folks and them tweaking. Buying some shoes. Y'all see real niggas be up here though. Play with me up here on folks in this building, bitch on the news. I look like Nusky. Hit his ass up right here on Pat. I'm with the that did. He don't want to be on camera though. Hit his ass up right here on Pat. You hit me? Hey, my boy up. Right here, you feel? Historic events. Y'all know I'm gonna bring y'all around this historic events. Wish you would play with me, boy. I look like Nusky. He ran into this though. He ran into the children's place, died like a bitch on Pokes now. Goof ass nigga. Ain't go, what do I look like Nusky? You talking about? Hey, I'm about to take y'all. Matter of fact, we about to go get a Chino burger.
A black SUV pulled up and let off over 15. Crump and Dusky were both hit. Crump on the scene. Dusky survived, only to get later that same year. Crump stayed reckless till the end. No filter, no backing down. FBG Duck was trying to move differently, but the streets didn't care. He still got hit. He had just signed a major deal, was working on Chicago Legends 2, and said he wanted peace in the city. But his last recording showed the streets weren't trying to hear that. August 4th, 2020, Duck was shopping in the Gold Coast, Chicago's most expensive area. He was with his girl and 2 others. Footage from earlier that day shows Duck shopping at designer stores, even laughing on a call. That footage is now his last living image. At 4:37 p.m., 2 cars pulled up, a Chrysler 300 and a Ford Fusion. 4 shooters jumped out and let off over 35 in broad daylight. Duck tried to shoot back, but he was hit multiple times and collapsed outside the Dolce & Gabbana store. The footage from across the street shows Duck crawling, reaching for his gun, while his girl screams for help. Still on long-standing smoke, Mo3 repped Dallas, but his beef reached all the way to Baton Rouge. On November 11th, 2020, Mo3 was driving on Interstate 35 in Dallas when he noticed a car following him. He tried to speed off, got caught in traffic, then hopped out his car and ran. But the ops chased him on foot. The shooter caught up and shot Mo3 in the back of the head midday on a busy highway. Videos of him lying lifeless on the ground swarmed the internet shortly. YBC Doll's rise was different. He wasn't just rapping, he was in the mix heavy. Hailing out of the Midwest, Doll was known for stepping and dropping tracks that mirrored real-life drama. On February 6, 2023, Doll was on live, chilling outside in his car, talking to fans and flexing with his homies. At one point, he said, "They know where I'm at, I ain't ducking no smoke." That one line felt like a challenge. The location? Right outside a gas station, middle of the city, engine running. Minutes after he ended the live, rang out. Doll was hit multiple times and in the driver's seat. What made it worse was that his own girl was allegedly in the passenger side, screaming for help while he bled out. Same way Doll's people watched him out in front of them. Jay-DeYoungin's family had to watch him take his last breath too. On July 27, 2022, Jay was outside his mama's house with his father when 2 cars pulled up and opened fire. Over 20 rounds. Jay tried to run inside but got hit multiple times. His dad was too. Jay shortly after. His last Instagram story showed him chilling with his homies just hours before. There was peace in that video, like he thought he was finally safe. He had just gotten out of jail. His ops knew his location, and they spun. Chi Watts was on the rise out of Brooklyn, linked with 83rd and Wu-affiliated sets. His music had just started taking off when the streets took him out. On February 2nd, 2020, Chi was in the chest in Brooklyn. But the last recording of him was the creepy part, a vlog where he toured the neighborhood, flashed his jewelry, and talked about building up his brand. He said, "Ain't nobody gonna stop this wave, we next up." That was recorded less than 48 hours before his and it ended up being a send-off. G-Money was one of the realest out of Baton Rouge. A TBG frontliner, he clashed heavy with NBA YoungBoy and sparked one of the city's deadliest beefs. What made his last moments so cold was how casual they were. On September 10th, 2017, G was at the studio late night working on music and chopping it up with his people. There's a photo from that night, him sitting in the booth with headphones on, smoking, smiling. Hours later, he walked out the studio to head home. But as he stepped outside, it rang out. Multiple bullets hit G, and he in the parking lot. The shooter waited outside the studio for hours. That means they knew where he was, and they knew when he'd walk out. His last words came in a diss. His last step was out the stew. Same way FYB Trigger got caught. Right outside, no warning. He was known for his loud energy and being tapped in with the STL, EBT, and FBG movement from 63rd. He was coming up fast, dropping tracks and going live constantly, keeping up the legacy of his fallen brothers like FBG Duck. But what made his last moments hit hard was how casual and loud his last recording was. On August 10th, 2023, Trigger was on IG Live, standing outside, shirtless, talking to his fans and dissing ops, laughing, bragging, trolling the same people he knew were looking for him. One fan even commented, "Bro, be safe out there," and he just laughed it off. Minutes later, it rang out off camera. The live cut suddenly, then news hit. Trigger had been multiple times on 63rd and pronounced dead shortly after. The live resurfaced hours later. People clipped it, slowed it down, analyzed the background. You could hear a car pull up. You could see Trigger glance to the side, then nothing. Raw G's was a young Bronx stepper, deeply tied to the OG's movement in New York. He came up alongside names like Sha E.K., E.Baby, and others who were pushing drill to new levels in the Bronx. On July 11th, 2021, Raw G's was walking with a girl in the Bronx when he got spotted. A shooter pulled up on a bike and let off a few hitting Raw in the back. He collapsed in the back seat of a cab and later in the hospital. FBG Cash was next up to carry the FBG name after Duck. He had the style, the story, and the history, and he wasn't scared to diss. In fact, his final video before was Back Again 2, a full diss track aimed at King Von, Lil Durk, and O-Block.
Hustle in a wheelchair. Therapy can't be working cause that pussy nigga still there. This the rack and you don't live here. I stopped playing in the rack and but I'm still here.
But what shook fans the most was that just 4 hours before he was Cash dropped an Instagram story showing himself inside his car, same car he'd later die in. He was chilling in a black Chrysler, flashing cash and playing unreleased music. On June 10th, 2022, around 5:30 a.m., Cash was in that same whip on West 81st Street with a woman. A car pulled up and sprayed bullets into the driver's side. Cash tried to shoot back but got hit 13 times. He on the scene. Same way FBG was plugged in on music and the streets, Lil Scoom had motion in Chicago, linked to Bloodhound Lil Jeff, and always stood on business. But his last moments felt like a setup straight out of a movie. On July 7th, 2024, Scoom had just gotten his hair done at a girl's house. Nene Brooks, a name already surrounded by drama and backdoor rumors. Then it went down. Scoom got popped twice in the chest right outside that crib. At the hospital, clips started surfacing, then posted up on the porch just before the hit. 5 months later, another Bronx rapper, E.Baby, passed away. He wasn't just an ordinary rapper, he was Harlem Drill. Known as the Young Demon of Sugar Hill, Edit came into the scene with raw energy, fast flows, and a voice that made you feel like he lived everything he rapped about. On November 3rd, 2022, everything shifted. Rumors spread fast. E.Baby had... Some said it was a hit. Others said he took his own life. Then the footage started resurfacing, and it made everything worse. Just hours before he allegedly himself, A. went live. Fans who were tapped in saw a version of him they hadn't seen before. He was calling out friends to a Scrabble. Later that night, A. was found in his apartment in Harlem with a gunshot wound to the head. Reports say he locked himself in a room and pulled the trigger. The NYPD ruled it a suicide, but the fans and the streets weren't buying it. If you like this video, click one of the windows on either side to watch a video similar to this one.